Good morning, Titans. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about some makeup opportunities and extra credit opportunities. So we're starting here, of course, on our Teams page. I'm going to pretend like I'm a third period student today. You're going to notice that I've posted a few things recently. Today I just posted an update about the grading policy, which I'd like you to read over. It's kind of long, but that's okay. What I want to go over right now is the post that I posted on Monday, which tells you about our suggested timeline for the week and gives you an overview of our assignment calendar. I'm just going to look over our assignment calendar really quick. And I want you to notice that everything here in yellow regarding 1984 is over. So for the rest of the semester, we won't be requiring any new information on 1984. We finished it up on May 1st with that last discussion board post. However, there might be some of you who are either missing some of these activities or did poorly on one of these two quizzes that wants to make up the work or wants to get a better grade on it. So for the next couple of weeks, every Friday I'll use as kind of a catch-up day / extra credit opportunity day. So you can do some quiz retakes, you can catch up on missing assignments, or you can do the extra credit project that I posted. Originally, I wanted to do this project as a required group project, but just with circumstances as they are, I don't think that's fair to you. So I'm giving it as extra credit for those of you who really want to go push themselves above and beyond. And so you can find it one of two ways. You can either scroll back up here and you're going to see makeup quiz for book 3. You only have to do this one if you want a better grade on one of your quizzes, but you don't have to if you've already got a good grade on the first two. And then here's your extra credit project. So let's view that. And student view. Okay, so about this 1984 project, it looks exactly the same as I gave to you before break. It was the same thing that we were going to do with our Lit Circles group from before, but now I'm just going to either give you a chance to do it with your group online or just individually online. And notice that I've already set up a Lit Circles group for one group in my third period who, at the beginning of our distance learning was thinking, well, what if we still wanted to do the project? Then please let me know and I can set up a group like this for you. It's private, so that only the people in that group can see and discuss with each other. And so if you would like me to set a group like this up for you, if you'd like to do it as a group, that's totally fine by me. Otherwise, you can just do it individually and you can get up to 40 points extra credit, which is pretty sweet. Good little chunk of change. Let's talk about the actual assignment. You can either do it on paper, like you can write it out. You can edit on this Word document. You can make a separate PowerPoint presentation. You can be creative with it. You can just make a video of yourself talking about it for all I care, as long as you do all the parts here. It's a 3-part section, and we'll talk about each of the 3 parts in this assignment. Okay, so the first part here is coming up with a central thematic topic. Now, a topic might be something like the theme of control. I see coming up a lot in 1984. So if you were assigned before to chunk number 1, right, at the very beginning of the book, you might say control is a topic that I see a lot coming over here. But your theme statement has to be a full sentence version of that. So it can't be just like, the theme is control. That's the thematic topic, but the theme might be something like, to control a person, you must take away everything that gives them a sense of individuality, right? Just off the top of my head. So that might be your theme statement in a full sentence. Now, once you figure out what your theme is, you're going to put that theme in the middle of a circle map. So if you want to do it a little differently than a circle map, I'm not going to stop you. Just make some kind of a thinking map with it. But circle maps are kind of a quick and easy way to put all your thoughts in one place. And of course, because I'm me, I've color-coded it. So what I'd like you to do here is put your theme in the middle and then come up with at least 4 quotes about that relate to the theme that you came up with. So you might come up with, if your theme, let's say, is control by lack of individuality, you might come up with the part of the story where like Winston and the others have to participate in the 2 minutes hate. And then you explain briefly that, hey, it's because all of them are required to do this activity, so that the party can maintain control of its citizens, or whatever. You just have to make sure you explain how the quote relates to your theme. So that's part 1 and part 2. This is a quick 5 points. This is 10 points. Where you get really into the meat of the points here is in number 3. Okay, this is where everybody keeps having questions. So I'm gonna try to explain my premise for this, like where I got the idea from, and then how I expect you guys to do it as well. So the whole idea of this section came from the podcast called Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. And if I can just put in a plug for this podcast really quick, I'm going to show you their website. Just because this is one of my favorite podcasts. This is like a Harry Potter lover / English teacher's like dream right here. It's got everything. It's got Harry Potter. It's got literary analysis. It's got, delving into all these ancient religious traditions. I was a religious studies major, so this is like my jam right here. And you can listen to some of these episodes, especially like season 1, even the very first episode. If you subscribe to it and listen to this one, the theme of commitment, notice that they have like a theme for every chapter. That's where I also got the idea from 1984. Being a stranger, excuse me, generosity, fear, loneliness, commitment. Those are all themes that you could talk about, or rather thematic topics, and then extend them into a theme. So if you listen to the first episode, it will give you a breakdown of how they do this 4-step reading practice. And I've kind of adapted that into a 5-step reading practice. Now, I did this example a few years ago with my freshman class, and it is from that short story by Haruki Murakami, Seventh Man. And I'm just going to take you through this example, and hopefully that will give you an idea of what you can do for 1984. Okay? So this practice, Lectio Divina, is literally translated to sacred reading. So basically you're trying to take a little nugget out of the text and treat the text like it's sacred. And I know that sounds weird, but it's basically diving deep into it and taking as much meaning as possible from that one small quote. So if you take a look at the quote that I picked out from The Seventh Man, "The waves that had approached me were as unthreatening as waves can be, a gentle washing of the sandy beach." All right, that doesn't seem like a whole lot on its own, right? But if you dive into it and you complete these 5 steps, you will be amazed how much meaning you can take away from that one small quote. So first of all, reading it for its literal meaning. What is going on in this line, and how does it fit within the bigger story? In this case, this is a line just before the main character is about to watch his best friend get washed away by a giant typhoon, like by a giant wave from the ocean. So it's kind of like this calm before the storm. It's unusually quiet. The waves are gentle. The storm is kind of stopped right now. It's like the eye of the hurricane, kind of. And they have no idea that this giant wave is about to hit. So it's actually, it seems really sweet and peaceful, but it's like the calm before this horrible thing is about to happen. Now, going into step 2, read it for its figurative meaning. Are there any symbols? Are there any like figurative language or metaphors, or do you see onomatopoeia? Think about those literary devices and what you can relate these things to. Now you can think of gentle washing, like cleansing the beach. You can think of water like a symbol. You can think of washing away your sins if you're a religious person. You can think of like foreshadowing. It's a hint that it could be threatening. It's kind of like waiting for attack. It's like a sleeping tiger, if you will. So you can kind of relate it to all these different ideas and all these different connections and symbols that you see. How does it relate to the larger story? Well, it seems unthreatening at the moment, but his best friend is swept away by the waves later. It brings it back to him later on when he has nightmares. And at the very end, he falls into the water and is kind of cleansed by it. So that's kind of probably the most complicated. The third one here is basically going back to your thinking map. I asked you to put the thematic topic again. And let's just say on your thinking map, you had the topic of survival, right? And you picked out this quote as one of your quotes on your thinking map. Basically, I'm going to ask you to explain what you already put on your thinking map. So for number 3, let's say you put the theme that to survive, you have to be aware of your surroundings to know the warning signs. And then you explained it by saying, if the 7th man had known the warning signs of a tsunami, he might have been able to save Kay rather than just treating the waves as non-threatening and leading to his death. So it's your thinking map in a little box. Okay, so number 4, how does this line relate to your own experiences of something that you are currently aware of? This is what I've really been asking you guys to do a lot in your dialectical journals, is make a connection to something, either in your personal life or in the world around you. So thinking about how this line here relates to me, it reminds me a lot of when I would see tsunami warning signs at the beach when I went to school in Santa Barbara. I would see them all over the place. You know, we had bluffs at our campus, and so they would always point to higher ground and remind me to do that. And just reminding me in general to be more aware of things around me, because like I'm a type of person that gets really easily distracted and lost in my own head. And so this is a reminder to me that I need to be more aware of things in my surroundings. And number 5, this is kind of like a life lesson that you want to learn from this. What is your takeaway? If there is any way that this quote can impact you or lead you to be different in the world, what would you do? Let's say like focus more on the needs of others. Focus more on my environment. Pay attention to my own surroundings. Pay attention to the warning signs of things. Even if something seems gentle and non-threatening, then it might not actually be gentle and non-threatening. I have to pay attention and not get so stuck in my own head. So that's personally how it relates to me. Okay, now I know you're wondering, well, what the heck do I do for 1984? Basically, you're going to use this very last page and fill in the blanks here. It's the same exact 5 questions. You're just going to put it for your quote that you chose from 1984. So pick the best quote out of your thinking map, the one that you think you have the most to say about, and then put a summary of it, figurative meanings, relation to the larger story, your theme. Basically, this is off your thinking map. What does it remind you of in your own life or in our world? And then what have you learned, or what will you take away and do differently because of this? And that is the end. So remember that if you want to, you can just do this whole thing on a separate piece of paper, or you can go to Edit Document and make changes right here in the browser. That way, let's say you wanted to just fill it in and put my quote right here. There's my quote from page 97 or whatever page you want. All right, and then you fill it in right there in the blanks. The only thing that's going to be funky is this thinking map. So I haven't really found a very good way to do this in Word, because Word Online likes to do things differently than Word in the application. So you can just do this brainstorming map on paper, or you can make a list if you don't want to make it a thinking map. It's just going to come out kind of funky, if I'm going to be honest. So if I open it up in my desktop app, it doesn't look this funky, and you can be able to edit it better. So I'll just show you quickly how to do that. And there it goes. Okay, open Word. Ignore that. Okay, and here we go. Make a brainstorming/circle map of all the instances where you found that theme. So then you should be able to just kind of highlight and then put your own quote in there. So it might work better if you do it in the actual Microsoft Word app. It might not. We'll see. All right, going back here to our Teams page, closing that up. That's basically a breakdown of how you complete these 3 steps. So just let me know if you have any other questions about that. Again, you can do it on your own paper, on this Word document, or complete it somewhere completely differently. Just be creative with it and do your best work. and you can get a little extra credit.